The Southeastern Conference is known for being the best conference in college baseball with a ton of great draft prospects that move pretty quickly. Can the Atlanta Braves take advantage of that in this upcoming MLB draft and find some talent to help this team out in a quick manner? We'll discuss that on today's episode of Locked On Braves. So let's get into it.
You are Locked On Braves, your daily Atlanta Braves podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, welcome back to Locked On Braves, part of Locked On Sports Atlanta, where we cover your favorite Atlanta sports teams each and every day. I'm your host, Jake Mastroianni. You can follow me on social media at shortstopball. Check out the podcast there at LockedOn_Braves on X and Locked On Braves on Instagram. If you're new and watching this on YouTube, please do me a huge favor. Hit that thumbs up button, hit the subscribe button, and leave me a comment down below, as it helps us out a ton here on the podcast whenever you do those things. And if you're listening on the audio version, you can help out as well by leaving me a 5-star review on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast. Word of mouth is a great way to spread the podcast too. I've heard from a lot of people here recently in my area talking about some that have found the podcast and enjoy it. So I always appreciate hearing that. And thank you so much for all your support here at Locked On Braves. Today's podcast, we're going to focus on the MLB draft. We're going to do an all SEC mock draft, as I spent a lot of last week at the SEC baseball tournament. We'll also spotlight the minor league portion of the Atlanta Braves, talk about some of the standouts down on the farm last week for the Braves, and we will preview this upcoming Phillies series, which, the way things went over the weekend and against the Padres, not feeling too great about it, but we'll get into it and see how the Braves can come out with a big series win against their division rivals that are atop the NL East right now. Before we get into all of that, I hope you all had a great Memorial Day, as we're recording this on Monday night on Memorial Day. And thanks again to all of the men and women who have fought and given their lives for our freedom so that we can sit here and talk about baseball and talk about something that in the grand scheme of things is pretty meaningless in life, but it gives us a lot of meaning. It gives us a community here. And thank you so much to all the brave men and women who fought, gave their lives so that we can do something like this. So again, hope you all had a great Memorial Day. I certainly did. Fantastic day. I was at the pool, got on the pond. Only bad part of Memorial Day was that the fish weren't biting. Got absolutely nothing, but got to take my kids out on a boat and swimming, watermelon, barbecue, all the good things for Memorial Day. Some ice cream in there too. So hope you all had a great Memorial Day. We're going to talk about the MLB draft. We're really going to start picking things up as we get closer and closer to the MLB draft, which happens on July 13th is when it begins. So we're still over a good month away from that, but I want to go ahead and start previewing that because the NCAA tournament starts this weekend. And last week I was at the SEC baseball tournament, but this coming up weekend, a NCAA tournament begins. And if you're not in on the NCAA college baseball tournament, do yourself a favor. For me, it's the best weekend of the year. This first one, you got so many games happening. It's the March Madness for me, but it's the baseball version. And I think it is so much better, obviously, because I love baseball. But if you haven't tuned into the NCAA regionals weekend before and all the games going on, do yourself a favor this weekend and sit down and enjoy a lot of great college baseball. And one thing that I want you to do as we get prepared for that this weekend is keep your eye on some players that maybe you would like the Braves to take in the upcoming draft, because there are a lot of talented names. And today we're going to focus on some names in the Southeastern Conference, the SEC, known as the best conference in all of college baseball. I think a team out of the SEC has won the College World Series for the past, billion years or something like that. It is the best conference in the world, and it has some of the top talent, and some of that talent can move through pretty quickly. You look at just in recent years, Paul Skeens, Wyatt Langford, Jack Caglianone out of Florida is knocking on the door right now for the Royals. I don't know what they're waiting on because they need some outfield help, and he is just hammering baseballs and hitting home runs all the time. But the SEC has a lot of top talent, and some of that talent at the top can move pretty quickly. Now, those guys who are going to move quickly, the Braves aren't going to have access to at 22 overall. But still, some of these guys could help out in the next, 1 or 2 years. But I think there's also just a lot of great talent here that the Braves could pick from. So as I said last week at the SEC baseball tournament in my backyard here in Hoover, I was able to go out there and watch a lot of games and see firsthand a lot of these top draft picks. So I'm going to go through the first 3 picks for the Braves in the draft, and I'm going to tell you who I would take from the SEC if I'm the Braves picking. And at 22 overall, sorry, War Eagle 17, Ike Irish is second on my list, but I got to go with Gavin Keelan, assuming that he is there. He was really impressive in the tournament. He's been really impressive all year. Just great bat to ball skills. I mean, he is a hitter. He's going to play second base. And look, it's going to be an uncomfortable conversation with Ozzie. And look, Ozzie's heating up. Maybe he's going to turn things around. I've been very hopeful for Ozzie this season. And, and I've told you all, I think if he plays a full healthy season, I think we're going to see typical Ozzie numbers. But either way, there's going to come a time in the next 2 or 3 years where we're likely going to have an uncomfortable conversation with about Ozzie Albies. And Gavin Keelan is a guy that in 2 or 3 years could be ready to be an everyday second baseman at the next level. The bat to ball skills are that good. He might be one of the better hitters overall in this draft class. So Gavin Keelan, second baseman out of Tennessee, would be my pick at 22 if available. Now, a couple of others I would target at this pick. Ike Irish, catcher, outfielder out of Auburn. He may be one of the best bats in this draft too. I just don't know where you play him. I mean, you can stick him in a corner outfield spot and he'll be okay, but he might be a DH, but he has been a fantastic bat since stepping on the field at Auburn. So again, would love to have an Auburn guy there as somebody that graduated from Auburn. So Ike Irish is next for me. On the other side of things in the Iron Bowl, another name that I would target here, and really the only arm that I think would be available for the Braves at 22. And again, this is me assuming that Jace Laviolette, Kyson Witherspoon, Cade Anderson, and Liam Doyle are all gone by the time that the Braves pick. If any of those guys were to fall to the Braves at 22, then you got to prioritize them. But assuming those 4 are gone and Gavin Keelan's available, he's my pick. Then I'd go with Ike Irish, and then I go with Riley Quick from Alabama, a guy that really, his stock soared this year, became the mainstay for Alabama. He mainly was their number 2 pitcher because Zane Adams was their guy early, and then Riley Quick, working his way back from injury, kind of just took hold of it. I mean, it's a mid to upper 90s fastball. It's really, really good stuff, and I think there's more to go on with Riley Quick. So I think there's some upside there with him as well. And then the other SEC player that I would target at 22 is Max Ballou, outfielder from Texas. Talked about him a little bit last week. He unfortunately got injured in the middle of the season, is just now working his way back, and it's been a bit of a rough go for him coming back. If he has a big postseason with Texas, takes them to Omaha, his draft may go back up into the mid-teens, but he's a really good bat, good outfielder, all-around player, probably the best all-around player of this group that I'm talking about here. So those are the 4 that I would target for the Braves at 22. Gavin Keelan, second baseman from Tennessee, Ike Irish, great bat out of Auburn, Riley Quick, pitcher, right-handed pitcher from Alabama, and Max Ballou, an outfielder from Texas, would be one of the picks that I would make at 22, whoever's available, and in that order. At 60 overall, and this player might not be here, especially if he goes on to have a big postseason, and that is A.J. Russell, the right-handed pitcher from Tennessee. Missed most of the 2025 season after missing a lot of the 2024 season, needing Tommy John surgery. So you look at that in a positive light in that he's already had the Tommy John surgery. Great frame, 6'6", 223 pounds, a mid-90s fastball. MLB Pipeline rated it as a 70 grade fastball, one of the highest grades in the draft, certainly for a fastball, and a plus slider as well. I got to see him on Wednesday, I believe it was, in the SEC baseball tournament, and he looked really, really good. He came in against the game where things were kind of getting out of hand, and he settled things down for Tennessee. I honestly wouldn't hate taking him at 22, and you might have to. Like I said, if A.J. Russell goes out and has a huge postseason, you're probably going to have to take him at 22. Now, some other names, there are some pitchers at 60 that I like. Marcus Phillips, another arm out of Texas with a big, strong build, 6'4", 246 pounds, upper 90s fastball that can hit 100. I saw him hit 100 at the tournament last week. Slider is his best secondary pitch. And this is a pitcher that has some upside as a starter, certainly, but has a safe floor as a reliever. And again, I think that's kind of what you want to shoot for early in the draft. And the Braves have done that, with Hurston Waldrop and others in the past, taking some college arms that maybe have a little bit more in the tank and have some upside that could become a starter. But if not, you feel pretty confident that they can become a really solid reliever. And I think that's the case with Marcus Phillips. And the other arm that I would target here, Gage Wood out of Arkansas. Another one that kind of fits that mold, that there could be some upside as a starter, but certainly has a safe floor as a mid back end reliever guy that can hit the upper 90s. He's also been working his way back from injury this year, but has come back and looked really good for Arkansas. And then at 96 overall, this is a fan favorite pick for me. I have loved RJ Austin since he stepped on the field at Vanderbilt, and he's never quite reached the ceiling that you think a guy with the tools that RJ Austin has should be able to reach. But it is loud tool. I mean, it's a 5-tool type of talent. The power hasn't necessarily been there for him this year, but it's in there, and it's the guy that can play all over the field. He's played shortstop at times for Vanderbilt. He's been playing center field a lot this year. Massive wheels, had over 20 steals this season, and it's just, if you can get him at 96 overall, it's a player that you can dream on if everything ends up clicking for him. Like I said, it's a 5-tool type of talent. So I love RJ Austin, plays with a lot of energy as well. I would be ecstatic if the Braves were able to get him at 96 overall. If not, my other favorite player that I just really fell in love with this year is Easton Carmichael, a catcher out of Oklahoma. It is very difficult to look at Easton Carmichael and not see JT Realmuto. And I hate to put those kind of comps on him, but just the athleticism that he shows behind the plate. It's a catcher, with good pop times, good arm behind the plate, but also somebody else. I watched him hit a triple in the tournament the other day. He has really good wheels. He'll steal some bases for you. Certainly has some pop. I've been very impressed with Easton Carmichael. We know the Braves love to take catchers. They got a good young one right now that might be there for a while. But if Easton Carmichael is available at 96, I think he's too good to pass up on, because again, it's really hard to look at him and not see JT Realmuto. So those would be my picks. Again, if everything worked out the way that I wanted to, Gavin Keelan at 22, AJ Russell at 60, and then RJ Austin at 96. And I mentioned some of the other names that I like there. So those are some of the players that I would target out of the SEC. Obviously, there's a lot of names to choose from. I didn't talk about Anthony Iacin. If he's available at 60, he's another guy. It's a bit smaller frame, but low to mid 90s fastball, a plus slider. His stock has absolutely soared this season. If he were available at 60, that'd be another one to take. And again, another one of those guys that upside as a starter, but certainly a safe floor as a reliever with the big time stuff. So Anthony Iacin out of LSU, another arm that I really like. But let me know what you think. Who would you take from the SEC for the Braves at those picks, or anybody else that really interests you? And sorry, David, for being an SEC junkie. That's just who I follow. That's who I write about over at College Baseball Central. We'll certainly look at some other names from other conferences as we get closer to the draft. We still got a little bit of time before we get there, but just coming off of the SEC tournament, I wanted to highlight some of the names that I saw there. Jalen Flores, if you're looking for a shortstop, he's somebody out of Texas, really tall player over there, a shortstop over there, but could stick at the position. Might be a name to keep an eye on. But those are some of the names that I like. Dewey says, I would take Vastine over Austin. Vastine just doesn't have the bat, but certainly plays Gold Glove level defense at shortstop, even though I wouldn't be surprised if he has to move to second base at the next level. But very good defensive player, but I just don't know that he's going to hit enough at the big league level. So those are my picks out of the SEC. Again, let me know yours in the comment section below. Next, we'll take a look at our minors spotlight for the week. Take a look at the top performances around minor league baseball for the Atlanta Braves. We'll do that here next. Get supplies from the site that's made for the skilled trades at supplyhouse.com. Supplyhouse.com is the reliable way to order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Shop a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from over 400 top brands and get your order delivered right to your door with fast shipping from coast to coast. If you need help with an order, get expert support and industry-leading service from the friendliest folks in the business and talk to a real person every time. Pros in the skilled trades can get a competitive edge by joining SupplyHouse.com's free Trade Master program. Every Trade Master gets access to a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Join the thousands of trade pros already benefiting from their free membership at SupplyHouse.com/TM and order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies from anywhere with just a few clicks at SupplyHouse.com. And when you use our code SH5, you're going to get 5% off your first order. That's code SH5 for 5% off your first order at SupplyHouse.com. Thank you so much for joining me here on today's episode of Locked On Braves. Make your second listen Locked On MLB. We're slowly getting you caught up on everything happening around Major League Baseball, especially with the Braves off on Monday. Maybe you want to know what you missed on Memorial Day. If you weren't sitting around watching baseball all day, make sure you check out the guys over at Locked On MLB. Let's jump back into the podcast, though, with our weekly Miners Monday segment. Down at Gwinnett, they went 1-5 this past week against Louisville, the Reds' AAA affiliate. Eddie's Leonard had a good week, 6 for 20, a double, a triple, home run, 2 walks. Had somebody ask me how much I know about him because he's having a good year and can play some shortstop. I really don't know much about him. Haven't had a chance to watch him, but he is having a good season. Could he be, a Luke Williams replacement at some point? I don't know, but certainly has been having a really good year at Gwinnett. Cade Bunnell has big power. I remember I watched him when he came to Birmingham back when he was with Mississippi, and dude strikes out a lot, but he has a ton of power. Went 5 for 16 this past week with a home run and 6 walks. Jared Kelenic, a disappointing week, 4 for 23, a double, a home run, 2 walks to 7 strikeouts. On the pitching side at Gwinnett, Bryce Elder made 2 starts this past week. The first one went just 4 innings, gave up 7 hits, a walk, 4 earned runs, a home run, and 6 strikeouts. And in the second one on May 25th, he went 5 2/3 innings, gave up 6 hits, 1 walk, hit a batter, 1 home run, 3 runs, and 3 strikeouts. More of a typical Bryce Elderish start there. Hurston Waldrop, we got to have a conversation. Things are turning around here for the top prospect. 6 innings, 6 hits, 2 walks, 2 earned, 1 home run allowed, 9 strikeouts. And now over his last 3 starts, it's 17 1/3 innings, just 11 hits, 7 walks, still not great, but it is better. 6 earned runs, 2 in each of them, and 25 strikeouts. And in this past outing, he got 20 whiffs, 13 on that slider. If you don't already follow, and apologize, I know I'm not going to say this name right, but Grav, sorry about that, but of Peach State Prospects, if you don't follow him on social media, it's GAURAV. Make sure you follow him on X and make sure that you listen to the Peach State Prospects podcast. They do a wonderful job of breaking down everything happening at the minor league level for the Braves. But G, as we'll call him, has talked about the mechanical changes, for Waldrop. And again, if you scroll through his social media page on X, you can find that. And it doesn't seem, the mechanical changes don't seem that different for me. The biggest thing that really you can notice is that he's just not falling off to the first base side as much as he was before. But whatever the changes are, it seems to help with command. And also, as we talked about last week, he's essentially ditched the splitter and is focusing more on the 4-seam and the slider. I don't know if that is deliberate or if he just knows the splitter's there when he needs it. He got only 2 swings. I think he only threw 8 or so in this last start. He only had 2 swings against it, and both of them were swings and misses. So I don't know if it's something where the Braves just want him to focus more on the fastball and the slider, knowing that the splitter is always going to be there, or if this is, again, intentional to just move away from the splitter, which would be kind of crazy considering it's the pitch that made him his money, essentially, and why he got drafted so highly and why everybody was so excited about him. So we'll have to keep an eye on that going forward. But whatever he's done, the mechanical changes, the pitch mix changes, Hurston Waldrop has perhaps saved his prospect status as a starter, because I was fully on board with let's move him to the bullpen with the rough start to the season that he's had. But it's 3 straight quality starts now. He's looked really good. And again, if these mechanical changes are legitimate, it seems to be helping out for Hurston Waldrop so far. Certainly you can't argue with the results. Elsewhere on the mound at Gwinnett, Ian Anderson, 5 innings, 8 hits allowed, 2 walks, 4 earned, 2 home runs, and 4 strikeouts. Davis Daniel, 3 innings, 1 hit, no walks, no earned, and 3 strikeouts. Dylan Dodd, 2 1/3 innings, 1 hit, no walks, no earned, 3 strikeouts. I really wish we would have got a chance to see Dylan Dodd in that series in Boston. I know it was a tight series all around. So you didn't really have a chance to use him, but I'd like to see what Dylan Dodd could do, because he's been really good at Gwinnett this year after that first outing of the season that he had. And then Craig Kimbrell only threw once this past week. A bit curious there, with a perfect inning with 2 strikeouts, and kind of surprised they didn't call him up yet. So certainly don't want to make any wrong assumptions here, but he only threw once. It was really good. He's been getting better. Is there an injury there, or what's the holdup with Craig Kimbrell? You really wanting to hold on to Rafael Montero that badly? I don't know, but if you're not going to give Craig Kimbrell a chance now, where he's been having really good outings, the fastball velocity is as high as it's probably going to get, then I don't know when you're going to give him an opportunity. So we'll see if that happens this week, or we hear something else about Craig Kimbrell. But again, he's been very good lately. At Columbus, the Clingstones went 5-2 against Montgomery. The Rays AA affiliate Drew Compton 8 for 21 with a double, 2 home runs, and 2 walks. And Geraldo Quintero 6 for 19, 3 home runs, 7 runs batted in, 3 walks, and 1 stolen base. On the pitching side at Columbus, Didier Fuentes 4 innings, 1 hit, 1 walk, did hit 2 batters, 1 earned run, and 9 strikeouts. Left early in this start due to a blister, but seems to be settling in a little bit at the AA level. Landon Harper, 5 innings, 2 hits, no walks, no earned, and 8 strikeouts. Brett Sears, first start out at AA, same result. 6 innings, 2 hits, 1 walk, 2 hit batters, no earned runs, and 7 strikeouts. Lucas Braun, another bit of kind of a rough outing. 6 innings, 7 hits, didn't walk anybody, did hit a batter, 5 earned runs on 3 home runs, and 6 strikeouts. Blaine Abeda, 2 innings, no hits, no walks, no earned, and 5 strikeouts. And then Ian Mejia just continues to roll. 7 innings, 4 hits, 1 walk, 1 earned, and 5 strikeouts. J.R. Ritchie also seems to be settling in at AA, 6 1/3 innings, 3 hits, 1 walk. He also hit a batter. Everybody hits batters in the minor league level. It's kind of crazy when you go through the stats. But JR only gave up 2 earned runs, gave up 1 home run and 5 strikeouts. Blake Burkhalter went 6 innings, allowed 4 hits, no walks, but also hit a batter, 2 earned runs, 1 home run, and 3 strikeouts. So the pitching looking really solid there at Columbus. At Rome, they go 2-4 against Hub City. The Rangers high A affiliate Will Verdong 8 for 26 with a double, 2 triples, and a walk. Ambioris Tavares just 4 for 18, but did hit a home run and had 5 walks to 8 strikeouts. So still don't love that many strikeouts. That is a good bit, but seeing the walks, better plate discipline, the power is good to see from Ambioris Tavares. On the pitching side at Rome, Herrick Hernandez 6 innings, 4 hits, 1 walk, 1 earned, and 10 strikeouts. Garrett Bauman, 5 innings, 4 hits, 1 walk, no earned, and 6 strikeouts. Riley Frey, 6 innings, 3 hits, 2 walks, 1 earned, and 6 strikeouts. And Adam Mayer had 2 starts this past week, both of them solid. The first one, 5 innings, 2 hits, 3 walks, 1 earned, 2 strikeouts. And the second one, 5 2/3 innings, 7 hits, no walks, 4 earned on 2 home runs and 4 strikeouts. Again, the pitching at every level is pretty solid for the Atlanta Braves. And finally, we get to Augusta. They went 5-1 this past week against Charleston. The Rays single A affiliate Isaiah Drake 8 for 22 with a triple, 1 home run, and 4 walks to 3 strikeouts. Also had 2 stolen bases, but really want to highlight the strikeouts because he had a 35% strikeout rate last year. It's down to 24.7% this year. Ton of talent there with Isaiah Drake. If he can cut down on the strikeouts, we could see him reach that potential. Luis Sanchez 8 for 24 with 3 doubles and a triple. Owen Carey 7 for 25 with 4 doubles, 2 walks, and a stolen base. Mason Guerra 7 for 15 with 3 home runs and a walk. And Eric Hartman 4 for 10 with 3 walks and 3 stolen bases, but unfortunately went on the IL. As he, Isaiah Drake, Owen Carey are a pretty solid 1-2-3. Mason Guerra kind of getting in that mix too. That lineup down there at Augusta is kind of exciting to watch. Now, the pitching at Augusta, Owen Hackman, 6 innings, 7 hits, no walks, 3 earned, 6 strikeouts. Luke Sennard, 5 1/3, 3 hits, 1 walk, no earned, and 5 strikeouts. Seth Keller, over 2 games, went 7 1/3, 2 hits, 2 walks, no earned, and 2 strikeouts. And then Jeremy Reyes, really talented arm, but they're kind of managing his workload. 3 innings, 1 hit, 1 walk, no earned, and 2 strikeouts. And then, now it is finally the FCL level for the Braves. Diego Benitez, 7 for 13, a double, a home run, no walk, and 2 strikeouts. Good to see That international prospect, paid him some pretty big money, and now he is starting to get going a little bit after a rough year last season. Juan Mateo, 5 for 19, a double, a walk, and 3 strikeouts. Jose Perdomo, 5 for 19, a double, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts, and a stolen base. Cam Caminiti, top pick from last year, went 4 2/3, 4 hits, 1 walk, 4 earned, 1 home run, and 4 strikeouts, and then came in at good, 5 innings, 5 hits, 1 walk, 1 earned, and 4 strikeouts. So a lot to get to, a lot of standouts at the minor league level, especially on the pitching side, but you can see some there on the hitting too with Compton, Quintero, Verdung, Drake, Carey, Hartman, Guerra. There are some pretty interesting bats in the Braves system right now. Perdomo at the FCL level and Diego Benitez. You're starting to see some bats for the Atlanta Braves emerge, which is great to see. All right, next we'll get into the news of the day, including Orlando Arcia. He might have a new team, and we'll quickly preview the upcoming series against the Phillies. We'll do all that here next. So the Atlanta Braves decided to release Orlando Arcia, which was a bit of surprise to me. Don't know that he would have accepted an assignment to AAA, but the Braves released him, allowing him to sign with any team that he wants to. And it sounds like he is close to signing a deal with the Colorado Rockies. And in fact, we're getting more reports on that now. The Colorado Rockies and former All-Star shortstop Orlando Arcia are finalizing a free agent contract. Arcia 30 was released by the Braves after being DFA'd. Once finalized, Arcia can join the team for their road series in Chicago. That coming from Daniel Alvarez Montes on X. So it sounds like Orlando Arcia could be getting picked up pretty soon by the Rockies. The Braves signed right-handed reliever Jose Cuas to a minor league deal over the weekend. He was with the Phillies, about to turn 31 years old. Very deceptive side armor. Four-seamer, averages 92 through the sinker and sweeper as well. So some more depth for the Atlanta Braves on the bullpen side of things, but he's really struggled with command. Be surprised if we see him pitch for the Braves this year, but you never know. But let's preview that Phillies series. The Phillies are 34-19, 1.5 games up on the Mets in the NL East, the second most wins in baseball behind the Detroit Tigers of all teams, but they have the best winning percentage in baseball. They just had a 9-game winning streak with series against the Pirates, Rockies, and A's. And look, it's a 9-game winning streak. That's what the Braves have been looking for. The Braves weren't able to pull that off in the recent stretch that they had. The Phillies did. That's why they're 34-19, and the Braves aren't. The Phillies also didn't play on Monday, one of 6 teams that were off, and one of them was the Phillies. And another one was the Braves. You look at the offense for the Phillies, they're 4th in batting average, 4th in on-base percentage, 6th in slugging, 11th most home runs, 6th most walks, 9th fewest strikeouts, and they're 8th in stolen bases. It's very easily a top 10, top 5 offense for the Phillies. And who's hot right now? Bryce Harper, of course. Last 13 games, he's hitting .360 with a .431 on base, 5 doubles, 1 home run, 5 walks, 5 strikeouts, and 2 stolen bases. Alec Boehm, after getting off to a disastrous start, slashing .340, .358 with a .580 slug, 3 doubles, and 3 home runs. In his last 13 games, Trey Turner, hate to see him playing really well coming in to play the Braves, but he's slashing .309, .350, .582 with 2 doubles, 2 triples, 3 home runs, 4 walks, and 5 stolen bases over the last couple of weeks. And Kyle Schwarber hitting just .217 over the past 2 weeks, but a .379 on base percentage, 2 walks, 2 doubles, 4 home runs, 12 walks, and 15 strikeouts. So their offense is doing exactly what it's supposed to do. Kyle Schwarber hitting home runs, getting on base. Bryce Harper driving them in. Trey Turner getting on, stealing bases. So their offense has been working out pretty well so far, which scares me for this series. The pitching matchups, you got Spencer Strider versus Ranger Suarez on Tuesday night. Strider only 2 starts this year, and they came a month apart and looked okay in the first one. Certainly didn't look great in the second one. Can he take a step in the right direction facing a familiar opponent who has been really good against in the regular season? Obviously has had some struggles in the postseason, although the last postseason against them, I would argue he was really good. Braves offense was just really bad and didn't give him any help. As far as Suarez, he's made just 4 starts this year himself, missing over a month to begin the season. His first one was rough. He gave up 7 earned runs, but his last 3 starts, he's gone exactly 7 innings in 2 of them and 6 2/3 in the other one. And in 2 of those starts, he didn't give up a single run. So he's looking like Ranger Suarez, a lefty. So we'll see Eli White and possibly Sean Murphy. We'll see if Brian Snitker gives Drake Baldwin a start against a lefty. And if he does, if he puts him in the 2 hole. So that'll be interesting to watch. And then the other pitching matchups in this series, you got AJ Smith-Shawver versus Zach Wheeler. Don't feel great about that one. And then you got Sale versus Christopher Sanchez. I feel a little bit better about that one. So really the first and third game of the series, I think the Braves, have a solid chance. The one in the middle is going to be really tough. AJ Smith-Shawver against Zach Wheeler. It feels like the Phillies kind of crush AJ Smith-Shawver. Maybe I just have a memory from that postseason series where they hit 3 home runs off of him. But this is a different version of AJ Smith-Shawver, and we'll see. He's coming off his worst start of the season so far, so hopefully he can bounce back. Hopefully the Braves can bounce back after another tough series loss, a series that they feel like they should have won. Can they get it going against their division rivals and the Phillies? Aaron Abston calling for a sweep over here. Would certainly love to see that happen. But just give me a series win. I'm not asking for too much here, Aaron. Just let me get a series win against the Phillies, get some good vibes going. Acuna back in the lineup, see if he can do some more good things and do some damage against the Phillies. But looking forward to getting back out there. I know it was a rough weekend, but I still can't wait to watch my favorite team play again, and they'll do that against the Phillies at 6:45 p.m. Eastern on Tuesday night. So looking forward to that matchup. Strider back out there again. Can he get going? Can we see him get closer and closer to that Strider that we saw before the injury? That's what I'm hoping for on Tuesday night. Thank you to our Guinness, Aaron, War Eagle, David Thatcher, everybody joining me here live on Memorial Day night. Appreciate you all being here. Make sure you subscribe to Locked On Braves on YouTube. If you're new, hit that thumbs up button and leave me a comment down below. And make sure that you rate, review, and subscribe to the Locked On Braves podcast wherever you get your podcast. And we will talk to you next time.